Oh my gosh. Oh, it looks awesome.
Whoa.
Look at the frame.
Nice.
Good job, buddy.
Oh, I can let you go.
So it's kind of like making the trail forest, which is pretty cool.
When we moved here 9 years ago, we were like, someday we'll put like an accessory structure out here. It'll be a barn where we can entertain for family and friends in the summertime. Like nothing like, you know. When I first walked into it, I was like, it feels like a cathedral. Like there's just so many different like angles and elements to it. And this just kind of became that on a whole nother level that I would have never even figured was possible 9 years ago. Welcome to afternoon tea at Pantry Hill. Join us over a cup or two as we work together to create home.
Step by step, down the path we
made. This past fall, we embarked on our biggest project yet here at Pantry Hill. We broke ground on our studio barn. 9 years ago, it was a seed of a dream, and the concept has grown and changed alongside our family and our business. It's a shining example of friends, family, and community coming together in thought and craft to build something more beautiful than we could have ever imagined. Something that will stand here long after we're gone. Something that we hope future generations will find value in. Well, I know it's something that the boys will never forget, right? And so I think that that's been really special about this too.
Running behind the logs as they're coming out.
Didn't they knock a peg in?
They knocked some pegs in, and just getting to go out to the shop, and they still have some of the pegs that you know, like all of the pegs are hand cut as well. And so the boys got to take some of those out of the shop and they have them up in their room. Today, we're inviting Tall Pine Timber Frames back to check out the progress. They're the small local company we chose to build our frame using traditional timber framing methods. Thank you for coming out today.
Yeah, we're happy to be here.
You ready to see it?
Yeah, absolutely.
They haven't been through since early spring, and a lot has happened since then. Ooh.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy?
What do you think, Nick? You love it?
I love it. Yeah. I love building it.
The style of this building being a mix between kind of like that traditional Adirondack feel, but more refined than that. Like English country was like a little bit, you know, mixing the two, which is basically what I've done in my house.
We use a process known as book matching. So you basically take a length of log that we found and you cut it right in half and you just open it up like a book. So these two here specifically, that's a great example because you can just see the form and it's a mirror of itself.
And they match each other.
They match each other beautifully. It's also a structural aspect to it because if you want something curved and you saw that curve out, you're cutting through grain and it's weakening. Whereas if it's the natural form, the grain stays intact and it's a stronger member itself. So there's visual and structural like advantages. And the reality is it looks beautiful.
It's form and beauty.
It's form and beauty.
From pulling the trees out of the forest using draft horses to hand hewing the beams.
Forests are diverse in species, so our building and our frame should represent that as well. Like if you just take one species out of a forest, you're depleting that population or that percentage. Our buildings are in kind, so there's 8 or 9 species in here, predominantly eastern white pine, because that's a very popular species in the area. There's a lot of it. So because they were spec'd for this specific species, we figured it was a good opportunity to make a statement out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, most everything else we sawed or we got from another local mill, and these two timbers we hand.
Those are my favorite.
Yeah.
Those are like my
So
absolute
we were already working together on designs, and then we talked about where the shop was. And like, wait, where's your shop? And where's this forest? And you grew up playing in the woods. As a kid.
Yeah.
It's right in my backyard.
Your backyard.
That was that like serendipity that we were like, okay, this is absolute, like it was that moment that we were like, we're definitely going with this.
We had talked about like other options, right? Making it look like a timber frame. And the further that we got into it, I was like, what are we doing? We're spending all of this time and these resources to make it look like a timber frame. Like, let's kind of like see what is available out there. Like, and then, it was a lot of the like kind of big box pre-cut stuff. And then we ran into you guys and we were like, then when we heard the forest was like Eric's backyard was that forest growing up.
Right.
That's where Eric and I, when we were teenagers, used to take his dog for a walk through the woods back there. And the barn raising party we threw them during the coldest week of the year. I mean, it was so cold, you guys. Let's talk about that for a second.
We were willing to work and the machines wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that was crazy.
We're talking
or
like
you're like, let's go, and the
The
machines
one-
are like, no.
the one day that you said no was negative 20 degrees
Yeah.
in the
with
morning.
wind, yeah.
And today is like.
It's like 100. Yeah. So
So,
you get it all.
contrast.
Yeah.
As well as when their entire families came out when the frame was complete to celebrate their work. We made a bunch of food.
You made your tea.
I made tea. Again, I made pies. And we just fed everybody from like morning till night while this thing was.
It was a celebration, and
What's going on?
and that's that's the whole nature of what this studio is.
Yeah.
So, and then you guys put the wedding bush up.
Yep.
Which is tradition, Nick.
Yep.
Right, the wedding.
Yeah, so the last peg we put in was on that gable pair of rafters. And
Did you put in the last peg?
I did.
Eric
Came up with the last peg. And then after that, there's a tradition with building and timber frames. Traditionally, you put up what's known as a wedding bush, which is a small sapling. And you put it up at the gable, and it's an offering to the forest and the trees. It's like a sign of good faith of, for
Thank
allowing
you.
us to be able to build with trees and with wood, and then also, a nice omen for the structure. So.
Yep. And I got to do
Yep,
that.
you came up and did
I got
that.
to go up in the lift
Yep.
and
I think
attach it to the top.
If you can see it,
It's still up there.
Yeah.
So we have told everybody that's come in since then, don't forget to, leave that up there. And we've had so many questions. Why? Like so many of the contractors who have worked on this have been like, we've never seen anything like this. Why are we leaving this little stick tree up there?
Yeah.
Let's talk about keeping the craft alive.
I feel very fortunate and honored to be a part of this craft of timber framing. It's centuries old, thousands of years old even. And right around the Industrial Revolution, a big change happened with productivity and the processes of building, and the craft was virtually lost. And then there was a revival that happened in the 60s and 70s, and I've been fortunate to have mentors that were a part of bringing that revival to fruition, and so yeah, I'm honored to be a part of this. I see myself as just a link in this chain, and I often say that I feel like I'm standing on the shoulders of giants, because this has been a craft that's developed over thousands of years, and a lot of people figured out a lot of things, and not reinventing the wheel, right? There's a tradition here, and I've learned that, and
You're learning like the old-fashioned way,
Yeah.
and that's something that we talk about a lot here, right? So we have access to learning through a million different avenues, like especially when you're talking about the internet, but we're trying to show our boys here that they can learn from the people around them, right? And so timber framing, that entire craft is mostly being taught from, you're learning from your mentors, you're getting your hands in there and figuring it out. I think one of the things that I was so impressed by was the lack of tools that are needed to build something like that. It was just shocking to me that the tools that you literally carry around your belt is what you used to put that together.
Yeah, simple tools, hand and heart and head all working together, and you can accomplish a lot. You don't need a lot, and that's something I teach. So I'm involved in Timber Framers Guild, which is a national and international organization, and also teach at the Hartwood School in New Hampshire, this traditional craft, which is where I learned it, was through the Guild and the Hartwood School. And I always felt early on that these people I found myself around were so open and wanted to give it all. You meet a timber framer and they want to tell you everything. There's no secrets. And with that, that's why we can keep this going. Like if you have a secret and you don't want to tell someone, well then it's going to end with you.
I think that certain people are pulled to certain types of crafts, right? And so I definitely think that I've seen that in my boys. My boys love building, engineering,
HAP's gonna be an engineer.
It's
I can see
HAP,
it. I
right?
can see
And
it,
that's
yeah.
exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say specifically HAP was so interested in everything that you were doing, all of the tools that you were using. He wanted to get out there and use the hammer. And so I think being able to have him watch this whole process from the beginning to end, like maybe changed his life. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's inspiring work. Even every day I'm inspired by it. I learn something new every day with people that I work with clients, with people, people that I teach. I learn from them, and it's a lifelong pursuit, and It's a lifestyle. It really is a lifestyle. Like, you see the world in a certain way, and that's how you apply yourself to the craft.
Yeah, and being able to pass on that knowledge is legacy, right? So you're keeping the legacy of the tradition alive, and you're continuing your own legacy by sharing the information that you've learned. And I think like the building itself is just almost like a pillar of this knowledge, this knowledge base. And I think that it will be here long after we are.
Centuries after.
Which is
we're
amazing.
gone. Yeah.
So hopefully that knowledge continues to be passed on. And
It's a sustainable way of building.
yeah.
you know?
And that the building keeps people interested, right? You come in, you see the building, and you're like, how is this possible? And then the stories around it. And I think it's pretty amazing.
Being involved in this project meant so much because I have the opportunity to work with people who share this interest and this passion in doing things a certain way. Not necessarily the fastest, but of a quality and a lasting quality that you can feel it when you work this way, or when you see what comes of working in this way. And so it meant a lot to me because I felt like my ideas, like you were almost like, go for it.
Yeah.
You had an idea of what the building wanted to be in its use, but like, go for it.
Yeah.
This craft, it's the craft you practice and express yourself in it. And to work with people like that is honestly a privilege and an honor as a craftsman, to have people that foster that passion for you.
Yeah.
So
Well, it
this
was a
meant
privilege
lot.
and an honor to watch you do that. I mean, that's not something you get to see every day. This was like a multi-year process, and you hand draw your plans.
I do.
This is like from start to finish. Everything is done by hand, which is like, it's incredible.
It's all a part of, I guess you could say, like the overall picture of what it means to be a builder or a craftsperson. Like I'm the one doing the designs. I understand the joinery, I understand the structure. So it would be me doing the designs as the person that's going to build it. And to do it by hand, you become intimately like connected with the building already. Like I can see that building in my mind while I'm drawing it. So when it comes time to actually like cut the joinery, I know what the building is going to be. Not entirely,
Almost because you spent time like meditating
spent a
over
lot
it,
of time on
basically,
it. Yeah,
right? And it's the same thing with like what you were saying about the individual trees that you were using. You become so intimately aware of every single piece that you're cutting and putting in there.
Where it grew in the forest, how it was growing, what the conditions were like. All of that influences how this is going to become something in a building. And the drawing idea as well, like it's a tactile thing. You're doing it with your hands. You develop the design as you're doing that with your hands. With that skill, you can work out, I don't want to call them problems, but what's in front of you while drawing. It's a very empowering feeling. And this whole process tells a story of the buildings we surround ourselves in, our culture, all these things. So, I like to think I give it my all because it's important in that way.
Yeah, I mean, it very much tells a story. So, and I think it's something that is going to be a part of our story here at Pantry Hill for a very long time.
Yeah. Well, I was
Thank
honored
you.
to be a part of it. Thank you.
Thank you. To us, it's more than a barn, a studio, a growing business. It's a continuation of our history, the story of coming back to and replanting our roots here firmly and deeply, giving our family a sense of place, a shared purpose, showing our boys that sometimes chasing your dreams looks like coming home.
So this has ended up being one of my favorite features, and something that will be here forever. It'll be here much longer than we are.
Yeah. Thinking of generations.
Yeah. I'm honored to be able to even have this here on our property and be able to talk about it and, share your craft, because it's something that you don't see every day, not this day and age.
Well, it was an honor to have the opportunity to do this and do it for people that, we really connected, and same mindset of building and having to, work out ideas together. So it was a privilege, really an honor to do this. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
I can't wait to celebrate it. You're coming back in October, right?
Oh,
We're
absolutely.
gonna have a big party.
Yeah, once this thing's, people are in here, you're not gonna be able to get rid of me. Yeah. I don't want to spend all my time in here. Yeah.
projects.
A little break from the computer.
Look at this.
Yeah.
Like, I want
mean,
an office like this.
For being a north-facing part of the building, this actually gets a ton of natural light, I think.
This is the view when you wake up.
Yep, this is a view when you wake up.
This is a party deck. Come on, Ned. Come on, your best buddies are here. All the way down. Like I said, I've been collecting lots of antique furniture. Eric's favorite thing.
It is, we are currently in a sauna.
Jingling for the ice cream.
Thank you for joining us for afternoon tea. We hope you'll take some time to enjoy your home this week. If you'd like exclusive content from this episode, be sure to subscribe to my Substack.